Okay, good afternoon. Welcome, everybody. I would like to welcome all members and guests to the September 3rd, 2025 Public Hearing Committee meeting. For those that are present online, if you wouldn't mind muting your microphone. Please ensure that your phones are also on silent mode, certainly while in these chambers. For those that are attending virtually, mute yourself when you're not speaking. When you are called upon to speak, please turn on your camera and unmute yourself. For staff in attendance, please use the Microsoft Teams raise hand feature to be called upon, and also to remember to remove it after speaking. So we'll call the September 3rd, 2025 Public Hearing Committee meeting to order. Just to let the gallery know, and council as well, I will be chairing the start of this meeting. However, I do have to depart early for another commitment, and at that time, Councillor Very, who would be the following deputy mayor, will take over, and a motion to appoint him as the chair for the remainder of the meeting will be taken at that time. So just letting you know. As a roll call, all members of committee are present, with the exception of Mayor Martin. She has unfortunately sent her regrets. Moving to item 2 on the agenda is the disclosure of pecuniary interest. Are there any declarations of pecuniary interest at this time? Seeing none. Move to item 3, approval of the agenda. Changes to the agenda. Council has the agenda before them. Please note that agenda item 4.1 has a small error in the title. It should be Scott Drive, not Scott Street. Are there any additional changes or additions to the agenda? Seeing none, may I have a motion then to approve the agenda as presented? That's moved by Councillor Columbus and seconded by Councillor Brunton. Call the question. All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you very much. I will now officially open the public meeting, which is authorized to be held under the Municipal Act, the Planning Act, and County Policy. Please be advised that under the Ontario Planning Act, as amended by the province, only specified persons, and public bodies as defined in the Planning Act may appeal a decision of Norfolk County to the Ontario Land Tribunal. Third parties or anyone who is not a specified person or public body do not have the right to appeal a decision to the Ontario Land Tribunal. However, to preserve the ability to be a party to any appeal to the Ontario Land Tribunal, third parties or general members of the public are required to make comments or provide written submissions, which is probably why many of you are here today. These meetings are to allow oral and written comments as input to decisions on specific development applications. Given that we have a full gallery today, we have a number of items certainly on the agenda and a number of registered speakers. I would just like to take this opportunity from the outset to remind each speaker that they have 5 minutes for their presentation and must remain on topic. As per Norfolk County's procedural bylaw, I will let you know when you have 1 minute left remaining in your presentation. With that, we'll move on to item 4.1, which is 9 Scott Drive. Zoning Bylaw Amendment CDS 25-032. Turn to Mr. Josh Mueller from the Planning Department to introduce his report.
Okay, thank you. Through the chair to council, this is a zoning bylaw amendment for 9 Scott Drive in Port Dover. It is the proposal is to rezone the property from R1 residential urban residential type 1 to urban residential type 4. To permit a 10-unit stacked townhouse development with some special provisions as seen on the screen.
Mr. Mueller, if I can just interrupt you for just 1 second. It is a very full gallery. I will let you know staff have prepared committee room B. The screens are on, so if there is additional seating as members are coming in, they can certainly just traverse down this hallway, and there's a room on the left that has additional seating. So if members are coming in, they can head that way. And we're just bringing the presentation up on the screen, so if you just bear with us for just 1 moment.
Shall I
let's pause for a second. I think there's still some movement in the hallway, so let's just pause while we get that figured out. Okay, our IT folks are looking into it. Anyone have a joke? No? Mine are all kids' jokes, so wouldn't work.
Everybody's heard of Murphy's Law. Not too many people know Cole's Law. It's just chopped cabbage.
Thank you. It's coming. Okay. There is additional seating there just down that hallway and the room on the left for those members in the hallway there. All right, I think we're ready. Mr. Mueller, continue.
Okay, I will recommence through the chair to council. This is a zoning bylaw, or a proposed zoning bylaw amendment for the property at 9 Scott Drive in Port Dover. Those are the site characteristics and site context as up on the screen. The proposal is to rezone the property from urban residential type 1, R1A, to urban residential type 4, R4, to provide for a 10-unit stacked townhouse development with the special provisions as shown on the screen. There is the site context, the official plan, and the zoning. There are some technical studies that were submitted, a stage 1 and 2 archaeological assessment, and a traffic memo. Technical comments are included in the report, and there were public comments that were distributed before the meeting. The key reviews are subject land is underutilized. The proposed redevelopment would be serviced by existing services. It is recommended that staff report CD 25032 for development application ZNPL 2025-225 be received for information, and further that any comments received as part of this public meeting would be included in the recommendation report. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any questions of the committee on the report? Okay, seeing none, we will move forward. We have 6 registered speakers for this report. We'll start with the agent, which is Candice Micucci, I believe. My apologies if I've said that incorrectly, from Antec Design and Engineering Group. If you want to come forward to the podium there. And just a note for all of the speakers, if you are speaking today, we will need your name for the official record and location or town in which you live, please. Candice, welcome. You have 5 minutes for your deputation. I'll let you know when you have 1 minute remaining. Microphone button there on the right-hand side.
Thank you so much. So we do have a slideshow. So as you can see, the property is located at 9 Scott Drive. Next slide, please. Basically, what we're proposing is a zoning bylaw amendment from R1 to R4 to permit a stacked 10-unit townhouse. Next slide, please. The special components for this are a reduction in the minimum lot area from 195 square meters to 184.3 square meters per unit. A reduction in a change in the maximum units. As per the townhouse designation, you're allowed 8 units in a row. It doesn't speak for stacked. So what we've done is we are proposing 5 units in a row with 5 units on top. Off-street parking, so it's required to have 2 spaces per unit, and we're proposing 1.4. And as well as a reduction in the aisle space from 7.3 meters to 6 meters, which is still permissible under fire and allows for a required fire truck route. Next slide, please. The policy framework that we looked at this application under are the Ontario Planning Act, the Provincial Policy Statement, Official Plan, and Zoning Bylaw. Next slide, please. As you can see from here, what we're proposing is the straight 5 units with 5 on top, parking across the front with a full backyard and sidescaping. As well, you can see the driveway will be looped and allow people to enter and exit both ways. The 6 meters provides for two-way traffic as well as fire truck and fire safety turning. And there'll be landscaping in the front of the buildings as well in front of the property where there's not the paved area. Next slide, please. The big thing in designing this was preserving community character, gentle intensification. We are aware that this is predominantly a single-family neighborhood with anywhere between 1 and 2 story buildings. That's why we're staying at 2 stories to maintain that height. Supporting local growth. We all know as for provincial policy that we are being promoted to do residential growth and densification within reason, as well as providing other alternatives to single-family home ownership. Housing diversity, as I said, this is a development that is different for the neighborhood with having the rental abilities and the effective use of land and services. So with doing this densification, we use the existing services in an improved way. Next slide, please. Under the Planning Act, this is a permitted application. Next slide. So for the official plan, what we've done is we've said, I apologize, I lost myself in my own thing. There's 6 visions that the County of Norfolk official plan contains. So a stronger, more diversified economy, protecting and improving the natural environment, maintaining and enhancing the rural and small town character, maintaining a high quality of life, upgrading and expanding crucial infrastructure, and a well-governed, well-planned, sustainable community. As per our planning report, this plan does cover that. Next slide, please. As you can see on this slide, what we've done is we've taken the time to map out some different portions of the area. It's a little hard to see on the screen, so I apologize. So note A, which is kind of in the center of the screen, is the subject property. Note B is a 2-story development. C is a 2-story single detached development. D
1
is,
minute remaining there, Candace.
Oh, thank you. So as you can see, this is the area. Next slide, please. For the zoning, we're well within the area. There's mixed use in this area. There's some commercial as well as multi-res. Next slide, please. This is just a table of uses. Next slide. Sorry, next slide. We'll skip over it. So the reduction in the minimum lot area, we feel that won't have a negative impact because it does allow for still green space. Next slide. The 10 units in a row are not in a row, so we feel that this meets the requirement as there's only 5 in a linear row and it doesn't exceed the 8. Next slide, please. For the parking, 1.4 spaces per unit. I know there's been some concerns raised. This is a rental apartment, a rental unit. So what we'll do is permit 1 assigned space per unit, which has then 4 visitor spaces. Next slide.
So you are out of time, so I'll ask you to take 30 seconds to wrap up, okay?
Yep, as I said, so it still requires the fire route, and we've talked about that. Next slide. And then any questions?
Perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you,
Thank you.
Candace. Okay, so let's turn this to committee. Are there questions of the agent? I see Councillor Van Passen first, then Councillor Very.
Yes, thanks, Mr. Chairman. I noticed on the comments from MTO that they only want to allow the one entrance at the north end of the property. And doesn't that sort of screw up the whole plan of the narrowed aisle and the turnarounds and all of those things?
So because the access space is only 6 meters wide, when you look at the design of the average parking lot, a parking spot is maximum 6 meters in length plus a 6-meter access aisle. You can still turn around in that, and we would still do the one entrance, and you would just turn around. It has no problems.
It's not an issue? Okay, thank you.
Councillor Very.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Through you to the, I guess, deputation there. So I have a question about, so you mentioned just a moment ago rentals, and that's newish information for me, which is good. But this now is a multi-residential unit then, not a development where it's individually owned units. So there's going to be a requirement to provide garbage disposal. In your map, have you accounted for the communal bins and things that would be required? I just want to make sure that we're not going to come back later and say, oh, we didn't have room for those. No, you got to have room if it's multi-residential. So I'm making sure that.
Yep, we can make sure to add those to the plan, as well as, like most residential, you would be a single garbage can. And we can also write into the site plan if required. If there is a garbage problem, the owner is required to pick it up. It's a common site plan condition.
Okay, just making sure that you're aware. Thank you.
Councillor Vandedrishi, did I see your hand? Yeah, okay. Councillor Vandedrishi and then Councillor Columbus, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and through you. Just looking at the photographs here, when I'm looking at, on the photographs that you had multi-use area in photograph N. Is that in the area itself? These photos are from the specific area. That looks like in G, an apartment unit, and then N looks like townhouses there.
Yes, it is.
So that already exists in that particular area.
Yes, they do.
Okay, thank you. As well as, if I may continue for a couple of questions here, because it is tight for the parking, in my opinion, have you ever considered just going the 4 and 4 and leaving more space to be able to have better parking in the area and a little bit more space around it? Because as I look at the area, I know it's a small area for a big project, in my opinion. And I'm just wondering, were there thoughts of 4 and 4 rather than the 5 and 5?
So when we designed it for the 10, knowing that we could go down in units, but when coming to council with a zoning bylaw amendment, we can never go up.
Exactly. Okay, I understood.
That is something that we can, aside, discuss with the owner.
Okay, and again, just to repeat, it is these are rental units.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And we are going to a new waste pickup system. So with each of these units, would each of them have to have a waste cart at the curb, or would you go with one large waste system to handle the waste that's coming off these 10 units?
That would have to be negotiated during the site plan process. But either way, the owner would be obligated to care for the garbage in an appropriate manner.
The owner of each condo or the condo corporation?
It's not a condo, it's a rental.
Okay.
So the owner of the building would be required to ensure that is addressed.
Okay,
and it
thank
would
you.
be one person any complaints went to.
And what type of client are you looking to attract, like family or senior?
They're really nice units is the plan. I apologize, there was kind of a preliminary design of them on the slideshow, but it's meant to fit in the neighborhood. I mean, there's young people looking to rent, there's people looking to get rid of their large single-family homes, looking to rent and stay in their area. It's not a geared to income government housing project.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Are there further questions from committee? Councillor Michelli, I just want to make sure I haven't missed you. You can just nod your head.
He's having trouble with his sound.
Is he? Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Councillor Brunton, then.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was reading all the comments from staff, and one of the ones that caught my eye was there's a lot of outstanding issues in the engineering requirements. Have you done any, like the hydrogeological, geotechnical, fire flows? Have you done any of them since you've made your application?
So the discussion with municipal staff that we had was those would be conditions of site plan to ensure that it's developable. Right now, we're asking to change the use, but a geotechnical, and it's very pricey to do upfront.
Right.
But you would require a geotechnical to move ahead to get site plan approval. So the zoning bylaw amendment that we're applying for isn't the last words for the engineering, as well as the county required some modeling themselves that they weren't even able to get done.
Okay, thank you.
But they will be done.
Okay. Thank you. Are there further questions of the agent for this application? Okay, seeing none at this time, what I would like to do is Candace, you are good to sit, thank you. I would look for a mover and seconder to accept this deputation as it is the agent on the application, and then what we'll do is we'll do the rest of the speakers in one batch at the end. So can I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Huffman and seconded by Councillor Very. I saw his hand. Call the question. All those in favor? That's carried. Thank you very much. Okay, so we'll move along. The next speaker, also on this application, 9 Scott Drive, Port Dover, is Marnie Vanderlaan, I have in my notes. So Marnie, if you're present, welcome. Please come forward. Take the podium. Again, just like everyone, you have 5 minutes for your deputation. As per the procedural bylaw, I'll let you know when you have 1 minute remaining. Okay, the microphone button is just there on the right-hand side. Yeah, we're doing some technical things in the background here.
So I start out?
Is your mic on?
Hello?
Yeah. Okay, you are good to go.
Okay, through the chair, thank you everyone for coming and being here and supporting. My name is Marnie Vanderlaan, and I'm a permanent resident on Scott Drive. I live directly across from the proposed development, and speaking today to address one of the many issues as to why this development on 9 Scott Drive is not safe or compatible with the existing neighborhood. This development also risks damaging infrastructure and quality of life for all current residents, and only part of why this project is unsuitable. Scott Drive is only 6 meters wide. By law, requires 8.5 meters to safely allow two-way traffic. Norfolk County's engineering department acknowledges that this road is, quote, not conducive to on-street parking, end quote. A road that is already too narrow for current traffic cannot safely handle increased traffic and roadside parking. Next slide. Sorry, 2 slides, my bad. Okay, the developer wants 20% more dwelling units with 30% fewer parking spaces. That means more cars and fewer places to put them. Engineering warns that this would create major enforcement headaches for Norfolk staff, constant calls and complaints, and unsafe conditions for pedestrians and moving traffic, adding that visitor parking and accessible parking has not been factored in. The street would become a permanent parking enforcement problem, and the development proposal doesn't factor in, again, any accessible spaces, which will create more liabilities. Next slide, please. So overflow vehicles will end up on Scott Drive. So in spring, summer, and fall, traffic increases with visitors. Because of this, many of the folks who usually use John Street turn left onto Highway 6. They use Scott Drive instead as a shortcut due to the large volume of cars coming into town, especially when the lift bridge is up. With the overflow vehicles as well, with the narrow lanes, it will block or delay emergency vehicles and makes snow removal difficult and unsafe for staff and pedestrians, which will multiply the risks when every inch of road space matters. Next slide, please. Next slide, sorry. Okay, so the Ministry of Transportation will only allow one single north entrance, reducing their plans from 2. The north entrance is directly beside the community mailbox. Don't forget, we don't have sidewalks. The developers also have a further bylaw revision request to reduce the two-way traffic width of 7.3 meters for a parking aisle to 6 meters. This does not factor in extra space needed for snowbanks in the winter, which will also increase more seasonal parking and compound existing safety issues for pedestrians and vehicles. Next slide. Again, we'd have no sidewalks. Yet our street is well used with kids and families walking, biking to the parks, dog parks, the Kinsman, the Ball Diamond, runners, dog walkers, motorized scooters, and cyclists. There are residents picking up mail just steps from the development entrance who will need to maneuver around parked cars and extra traffic from the only MTO allowed entrance on the development. My neighbors direct kids with their friends and parents, wait for school buses, play hockey, rollerblade, and do other various activities on Scott Drive. These kids are also upset and that this could be taken away from them, and they should be heard as well. Families moved here for a safe and quiet community, and this development puts that as a serious risk. Next slide. Next slide, sorry. Yeah, so basically, no sidewalks, increased traffic, and only one entrance is a very serious safety problem waiting to happen. I think there's one more slide. Next slide, please. Oh, that's it? Okay.
You have 1 minute remaining.
Okay. The county's own traffic study confirms that 10 stacked townhomes is 78 extra daily trips, which is a 31% increase in daily traffic on a road that lacks sidewalks and width. The study also admits Scott Drive cannot accommodate on-street parking, and again, visitor or accessibility parking has not been addressed at all. This is not a minor adjustment, it's a major material change that puts safety, accessibility, and compatibility with surrounding land use in major jeopardy. In conclusion, I urge council to please oppose the rezoning of 9 Scott Drive. Thank you for your consideration. Any questions?
Thank you. Good job, Marnie. Thank you for your deputation today. Just to let committee and the gallery know, we are having some technical problems on the back end with the live stream, so I do apologize for that. With that in mind, we just need to reboot the computer. So we're going to take a very quick 2-minute recess to allow the computers to reboot. So Marnie, if you want to take your seat, we will come back and give committee the opportunity, if you wouldn't mind, we'll give committee the opportunity to ask questions in just a moment. So pausing at 3:26 for 2 minutes.
Councillor Michele, can you hear us? Can you hear us now, Councillor Michele?
Councillor Michele, if you can hear us, just let us know. Okay, my apologies for the delay. It's 3:35. We'll reconvene. And Councillor Michelli, we do seem to be having some trouble with his connection currently. Our IT division will work on that in the background, and hopefully he'll be able to rejoin us. However, in the interest of time and the fact that we have a full gallery and a lengthy agenda here, we will proceed without him. We do have quorum. So if I could ask Marnie to please return to the podium. It may be brief, and we'll turn to committee if there are questions of your deputation. Are there questions from committee on this deputation? Councillor Van Adrishi, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and through you, thank you, Marty, for your presentation.
Thank you.
Subsequently, it is an empty lot right there now at the moment. And I think the issue is that when we look at it, it's 10 units, 5 and 5. Right? So that's too much as far as it seems like the community is concerned, as well as the parking, as well as the roadsides, things like that. What would be something that could be there that you would see that would be more, what size of unit? Because we do need housing. We can't
Yes.
deny that.
I mean, we have spoken about a semi, but nothing much more, just to keep it, there's no commercial on our street. So I don't think there's any commercial on our street. So there is a building at the side, and I think it's only 4 or 6.
Condos on that
Condos,
side.
and they're condos,
And then you
yeah.
have
There's
an
no
apartment
rentals,
unit.
and, so I guess, yeah, I don't want to answer that
no.
completely right now.
I'll just
As-
intervene
you know-
here if I may. The application before us is what's before us and
Yes.
is what we're discussing today. So
Okay,
Right.
I'd rather we maybe avoid the
Yeah.
hypotheticals at this point in time.
Yeah, I don't want
Okay,
to
thank you.
concede to anything, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just,
That's fair.
we'd like
Thank
to
you.
keep
Thank
it
you.
M1, thank you.
Thank you. Are there further questions of the deputation? Okay. Seeing none, we'll move on. Our next deputation comes from Mary Jane Scruton. If you are present, please come forward to the podium. Like everyone else, you'll have 5 minutes for your presentation, and I will let you know when you've got 1 minute left.
This is, the red light's on, so I'm assuming I'm good. Okay. Through the chair, thank you, Marnie, for kicking off our presentation. My name is Mary Jane Scruton, and I reside in Port Dover, and I will be taking you through the next section of our presentation. Anything you see on the screen in quotation marks has been taken directly from staff reports, which were extremely helpful for this. The Ontario Building Code Fire Department standards require that access be at least 6 meters unobstructed. The predicted on-street parking here would create a code compliance and safety issue. Next slide, please. In addition, until tests are complete, it is unknown if the fire department can be supported in an emergency due to fire flow requirements. Furthermore, Norfolk Fire Department also warns that the narrowed parking aisle could reduce fire truck access and turning radius. Next slide, please. 9 Scott Drive is within the MTO permit control area, which means, as the name implies, the MTO controls what demolition, construction, and grading occur on this property. In the picture on the screen taken last week, you'll see that the site has already been altered. The mound you see is over the existing swale, and it is unclear how this change to the grade will impact drainage. Next slide, please. Drainage at the applicant's other properties on Scott Drive has been impacted by grading modifications, as you can see in the photo on the screen, taken several hours after it stopped raining that one day last week. Next slide, please. As Marnie has already mentioned, the MTO would permit only the northern entrance to the development, which would be roughly 10 feet from the community mailbox. So, everyone who knows him will know who I'm talking about. So picture Bob Wilson walking cute little Wilbur down the street. And Albert headed over to the mailbox, and Thelma is going to take off on her bike for a ride, all while cars maneuver to get in and out of a parking aisle, which is too narrow by bylaw standards. And, oh yeah, the drivers have to be wary of on-street parked cars, oncoming traffic, all on a street that's only 6 meters wide. Next slide, please. Drainage. Drainage at Scott Drive, at 9 Scott Drive, is a subject I know well, and I have the extremely unfashionable rain boots to prove it. They are kept at the ready at my side door, and I put them on each time we get a good rain, so I know what I'll be facing in terms of flooding from that property. On the screen is a picture I took of 9 Scott Drive on a particularly soggy day. That doesn't look like a building lot to me. That looks like a lake. I'm happy to hear, though, that further drainage studies must be done before rezoning this property, since introducing large-scale impermeable surfaces, such as a roof, foundation, and parking lot, will only exacerbate existing problems. Next slide, please. Is this another drainage problem? I guess we'll find out. Next slide, please. It's hard to see from the distance of these screens, but the applicant's concept plan includes an infiltration swale directly behind my fence. This will require further study, as this site is clay-based and an infiltration swale would be totally unsuitable.
One minute.
Thank you. Next slide, please. You'll see that 9 Scott Drive drains in all directions, and it's just the gift that keeps on giving, water, that is. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Once upon a time, I myself applied for minor variance to build a specific kind of fence in Port Dover, and I was turned down. And I get it. We need rules for a reason. And yet, here we are today discussing a proposal from a developer who is asking for exceptions on a multitude of zoning rules meant to protect residents and neighborhood safety. Albert, my colleague, is going to walk you through what those zoning exceptions would look like. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Jane. Before we continue, are there any questions of committee at this time? Councillor Berry, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Am I able to ask staff questions right now or just the deputation?
Only of the deputation.
When do we ask staff questions? Remind me.
We'll come back to that at the end.
Okay, thank you.
Further questions? Seeing none, Mary Jane, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next, it sounds like you already provided the introduction, but Albert Land is coming forward. Albert, again, like everyone, 5 minutes. I'll let you know when you've got 1 minute remaining, and that microphone looks to be on.
Good afternoon, Council. Yes, on the zoning deficiencies, we came up with numbers. They're asking like a 30% reduction in parking on this lot. They're asking for 25% more units, 42% shortfall in landscaping, and 14% shortfall in dwelling unit. So we're kind of looking at, most families have 2 cars. And, you know, there's going to be demand on the street. And our street is very narrow, and I know it's been mentioned already. And we have no sidewalks. So I think, you know, council should really take this into consideration that Scott Drive is a single dwelling residential street. And we moved there because it was, and now talking putting rentals across from us. And the grading on Scott Drive needs to be addressed. And you know, we got inadequate infrastructure. It's unsafe, and it's not compatible with our neighborhood. You might as well just flip these slides. And the summary of what I'm proposing here is to push back because of the infrastructure, safety measures, environmental protections, and the community consultation required both by provincial and municipal policy. Tribunal precedent in Crystal Bay Cottages versus Fort Erie, the Ontario Land Tribunal dismissed an appeal seeking higher density and affirming the municipality refused on grounds that the compatibility of inadequate infrastructure was not there, and it was refused. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there questions of Albert? Councillor Brunton.
Yes, thanks for your deputation. Could you repeat that last about Fort Erie again?
Okay, back in, hang on, let me pull it up here. Back in April 29th, 2024, the Ontario Land Tribunal dismissed an appeal seeking higher density.
Do you know what it was? Like what?
I'm not sure what it was.
You don't have that?
I don't have that information. I just know that they got refused and the project did not go through.
And infrastructure was an issue?
Yeah, infrastructure was the issue.
Thank you.
And that's our issue on Scott.
Okay, thank you very much. Further questions from committee? Seeing none, Albert, thank you very much for your time today. Okay, up next, I have Thelma Payne. Thelma, as you're coming forward, I'll just let you know you have 5 minutes, and 1 minute, I'll let you know when you're at the 1 minute mark. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Through the chair, good afternoon to Mayor, Council, and staff. I'm Thelma Payne, live at 10 Scott Drive in Port Dover, property directly across the street from the proposed property. I'm here on behalf of myself and neighbors to voice opposition on the proposed rezoning, which if approved would allow for this 10-unit townhouse complex on a natural piece of land in a single-family neighborhood. Our opposition isn't about resisting change, it's about ensuring that growth is responsible and sustainable. The province continues to push for higher density building, but have not provided supports and services needed to responsibly accommodate this type of intensification. Residents in Norfolk County already struggle with health care, getting family doctors, medical services, some waiting 3 to 4 years for doctors, forcing many residents to keep their existing doctors out of the Norfolk County. Adding more residential units would only add healthcare support, would only deepen the crisis. Local schools are at or near their capacity. New residents moving into this area may not know where their children would go to school before more schools could be built in Port Dover. Infrastructure pressures, water, sewer, road maintenance are stretched thin. This development will add strain without matching provincial investment. Additional mailboxes will need to be installed, streetlights, sidewalks, curbs. A new water main is not scheduled until 2027, and the road itself needs upgrades. How does this schedule affect the proposed development? Police and fire services are already under-resourced. Municipalities do not have the tax base or authority to expand these services directly. With rising serious crime in Norfolk and Haldimand counties, adding density without increasing service levels puts everyone at risk. The province is mandating infill and intensification, but municipalities do not have the ability to support it without significant new funding and service commitments from the province of Ontario. The Association of Municipalities, the AMO, publicly states that Bill 23 leaves municipalities short billions in infrastructure funding because development charges are reduced, while demands on water, sewer, roads, police, and fire protection are increasing. There are currently a number of properties that are approved for residential homes and yet remain undeveloped in the Port Dover area, including the Lynn River Heights, the McKeel property, the Valley development. What's the status of these developments? Aren't these properties already an adequate amount of approved and undeveloped residential properties to meet the provincial requirements? 13 months ago, Council approved the severance of this very property into 4 single lots with a recommendation that the builder would work with neighbors on the existing grading and flooding issues. Those discussions never happened, and yet building continued. We need to maintain and improve physical design characteristics of urban areas and continue to design with current traditional street patterns and neighborhood structure. New buildings should be in scale with the houses in the neighborhood, which on Scott Drive are mostly single, detached homes on larger lots set far back off the road. We must protect the integrity of small towns. Growth cannot simply be about heads and beds. Without provincial financial support, these developments burden local taxpayers. As you know, Oxford County is pushing back against provincial growth targets
1 minute.
due to unsustainable financial burden on taxpayers. Thank you. How much more can the average taxpayer take? We respectfully urge Council to stand with the current residents, protect our single-family neighborhoods, insist that growth be only proceed when matched with provincial commitments needed to support it. Growth must be responsible, not reckless. We believe that 9 Scott Drive is not the property for multi-residential rental properties, which we just found out. Our recommendation is that 9 Scott Drive remain urban residential, single resident, which would allow for the building of one more home, as approved by this council. This would remain consistent with the existing neighborhood. And in addition, that studies continue regarding the current and future grading and flooding issues. Excuse me. That's all. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you very much. Thelma, are there questions of the deputation? Seeing none, thank you. You may take your seat.
Thank you.
Okay, up next I have Ann Musselman. Ann, I saw you there. If you'd like to come forward. Yeah, you can sneak through. Go ahead. Technically the answer is no, but it's busy over there. Yeah, no, you're allowed. Go ahead. Again, you have 5 minutes, and I'll let you know when you have 1 minute remaining.
Thank
Please
you.
go ahead.
Through the chair, councillors, committee members, and county staff. A reply to the 2024 notice of severance was sent to note the presence of clay-based soil and persistent waterlogged conditions on the land being discussed. All the lots in this residential area are shown in Norfolk County surveys as exhibiting a substantial water table. Had a stacked townhouse or any structure other than a single-family residence been suggested or disclosed, it would most definitely have been addressed at that time. I would appreciate the following concerns regarding 9 Scott Drive to please be thoroughly investigated by county staff with necessary steps taken to avoid further flooding in this development and on neighboring properties. This issue needs to be thoroughly investigated prior to building, let alone entertaining rezoning. I am certain the county will agree it is important all factors are examined prior to rezoning and construction so that neighbors don't have to resolve issues addressed today in a civil issue. A key concern with the proposed rezoning and construction of 10 stacked townhouses at 9 Scott is the significant runoff from the proposed large parking lot and 10 townhouse roofs. Parking lot runoff, where will it travel? The following was explained by a qualified engineer using some proposed dimensions off the drawing in the county notice and attending the property in person. For his calculations with the amount of water that must drain somewhere during a storm delivering 1 inch of rain per hour. Please note, this calculation is for the parking lot only. It does not include the roof runoff and/or snow melt from the proposed unit's roof. Rainfall for 1 hour, which is probably below the actual design criteria, even at 1 inch per hour over 8,319 square feet, would equal 690 cubic feet of accumulated water. Considering it is not inconceivable to have 1 inch rainfall per hour for 2 hours, then the total accumulation of water would exceed 50 cubic yards. Putting that into perspective, a backyard pool that is 12 by 30 by 4 equals 53 cubic yards of water. Parking lot runoff combined with front roof runoffs and snow melt would exceed the amounts estimated in those calculations. Ditches. The grading of the western ditch begins at 68 Hamilton Plank Road, traveling northwards, and meets underground the ditch that is graded southward from John Street, meeting under a storm sewer sitting on higher ground. The current ditches that are in front of the proposed townhouses could not possibly act as a reservoir for this amount of runoff water from the driveway surface and the roof runoff snowmelt from the front downspouts. There is need for a review of the active drainage system for the parking lot and the roof runoff, as they must be tied to the municipal system. The back roof runoff snowmelt. Where will this roof runoff travel? How will it be dealt with to avoid flooding on the land in question and the neighboring lands? In May 2025, a French drain installed on the same type of land as the proposed townhouses has proven not to be successful. After a few hours of rainfall, it was filled, and as the rain continued steadily for 48 hours, it caused flooding on not only its own, but neighboring properties. It took several days for rainwater to dissipate, as clay absorbs water slowly and can hold a large amount of water within its interlayers like a sponge. All seasons, the entire roof surfaces and parking lot runoff is a major concern for neighbors behind and near the proposed buildings. There have been development flooding issues described in my email submissions of August 18th and June 3rd, 2025. Should the proposed rezoning be approved and whatever type of home is built, will county ensure all runoffs will be contained on the property of 9 Scott Drive? I'm wondering if the owners and builders are open to ideas of what the community would like to see. As you can see today here in Chambers, it is apparent that a lot of neighbors are not happy with the application for rezoning for 10 stacked townhouses.
1 minute.
Thank you. How could everyone work together so that the neighbors have something that fits with the community and is supported and successful? We appreciate being able to speak to you and express our concerns today in this public forum. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anne. Is there any questions from committee of this deputation? Seeing none. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. That concludes all of the registered speakers that were registered in advance on this application. However, I would like to turn the floor over to the room. So if there is anyone else in Chambers who wishes to speak to this report, please come forward, state your name and the town in which you reside for the public record. Yep, please go ahead. And if there are multiples, we'll just create a gentle line at the back there, okay?
My name is Bina Cracknell. I live on 17 Scott Drive. I moved into the neighborhood to have a quieter spot. I actually looked at the zoning arrangements before I moved to the neighborhood, and I was happy to see that it was residential homes that was slotted for this area. In terms of the flooding issues, I'm going to say that many people before your time zoned this area not really considering the water issues. We have a huge water issue. I think if I asked all the people that are sitting in this room how many people have experienced flooding, many hands would go up. So you're talking about an area that already has a severe flooding problem, which when you look at the lay of the land, you wouldn't really think, because it is actually a bit higher up. You wouldn't expect it, but I think it has to do with the soil. So now, for many years, this property was not built, and there was grass, trees, all of that helping capture the water and slow the flow. There is a ravine, that is a protected area, but I think with all of the building and maybe some of the zoning that has been allowed many, many years ago, things are not really maybe flowing properly into that ravine. So now you have these developments that have reduced the green space, and all of a sudden, from what I understand, there are a lot of neighbors that are behind the property that have experienced additional flooding during the time of the build. And again, if I'm able to ask a show of hands, I'm sure many hands would go up. So really, before any big changes are done, there needs to be something done, not just for this property, but to look at the surrounding properties also, to ensure that we are not stuck. Like, we've been living there for years. I've only been there 5 years, but I love the street. It's a wonderful street. Kids can play on the street. It's really wonderful to see, like, know the neighbors, and you can kind of see the community support from the room in here. It's full. You have overflow. So people are concerned. It is an area we enjoy. We picked it for a reason. We do not want something built that is going to create risks for us in terms of pedestrian safety, parking safety, and flooding. The other thing the council, I'm sure you've already considered it, we are one of the streets leading to the center of the town. There's a lot of traffic coming into town. You really don't want to create a traffic jam on that road leading into, like, the best part of this town, the beach. People coming to enjoy it. They're coming from areas, they want a quiet beach. When that lift bridge is lifted, there is backup. If there are 20 more cars coming out of this area, there would need to be stoplights. All of a sudden, you're creating backlog of traffic. People that are coming from areas that are wanting. The best thing about Dover is the small town, the fishing community. Don't do too much to kind of mess that up, because that's the beauty. That's the beauty of the town. That's what people are coming to see. And you create a traffic jam a potential traffic jam right before that bridge. It's not safe for many, many reasons.
1 minute.
Save our street. We love our street. We love the community. We love the community feeling. We do all understand that there are pressures in terms of needing more accommodation, but really, as Thelma stated, there should be more infrastructure done before those types of things can be done. And also, it would be easier to do that with new infrastructure. When you're coming to an area that's an older area, that I'm going to say the water aspects there have unfortunately were not dealt with properly, because a large number of, I'm one of the people that dealt with the flood. And so it's not just impacting behind the property, it is going to impact properties adjacent to it also quite a lot.
You have reached max time, so if
All
there's
right,
anything further.
I'm done.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you coming forward today. Are there questions of committee of the deputation? Seeing none, I'll thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Okay, next, please come forward. State your name and the town in which you live for the public record, please.
My name's Bonnie Calzanetti. I live at 6 Dover Drive, Scott Drive in Dover. The only thing I need to say is I do not feel that this is the right move for our street, the next street, and probably the next street over, because the water issues are horrendous. Forget that. But what I'm concerned with is if down the road all this becomes a big issue to the folks that live on John Street right next to us, most of whom are already experiencing trouble, where does the town go from here? Like, what can these folks do at this point? We need everyone to say now that it's a good idea, bad idea, take a stand, because it's not going to stop. If this continues, this building, we're going to have far more issues than we can deal with. That's all I needed to say. But
Perfect. Thank you, Bonnie. I appreciate you being here today. Hang on 1 second. Are there any questions? Seeing none, I think you're good to go. Thank you very much. Okay. Yep, please come forward. State your name and the town in which you live for the public record, please.
I'm Sean McKenzie. I live on Scott Drive. I've lived there for 24 years. I've loved the area. I moved from the Hamilton area up to here for the small town feel. I do appreciate the fact that the provincial government is mandating the high density housing. I'm very opposed to it being on Scott Drive. It's just not the right place. I do have a couple of questions. One from the developer. There was no mention of handicap parking in the parking, so I don't know if that's something that is a must-have or a part of the bylaw. So they're talking about 10 spots. For the councillors that aren't familiar with our street, I believe there's 12 houses on the street, so potentially doubling the amount of people that will be on the street, which is going to put a burden on, like we talked about, burden on our water system, our drainage, our sewers, and more importantly, our roads. I understand that there's the developer covers some of that cost. Are the rest of the costs going to fall on the taxpayers? I guess is the question I have. Because there's a lot of work that needs to be done, as you've heard here today. And as I mentioned, there's 12 houses on the street, plus the adjacent houses that back onto this property. And you can see the turnout that's here today, and it's just not a good fit. So
Okay.
That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you very much. So your questions will be noted by our planning staff and will be addressed in a subsequent report that will come forward to council. Are there any further? Unfortunately, I'm going to turn to the clerk. I don't believe you can speak twice to a matter. So certainly if there's someone, a friend or neighbor that you might want to pass your comment along to, you could do so and they can come forward. If there's anyone else present in the gallery, please come forward, state your name and the town in which you live for the public record. Please, 5 minutes.
Good afternoon. My name is Dennis Trevally. I live in the town of Simcoe, although I am a resident of Norfolk County. I'm not going to speak in favor or against any kind of development at this early stage. This council and previous council know that this is early stages, that there's a process that has to unfold, and it will unfold within legislative framework that exists. We do know that when concerns come forward, council and staff listen to them, and they then are considered and adjusted and applied as appropriate within that framework as the process unfolds. So I say to people, don't get discouraged if you think in your head, in your passionately held beliefs, that council doesn't listen to you or staff don't listen to you. They do. I have a lot of experience sitting in that chair, listening to hundreds and hundreds of developments that have taken place in Norfolk County. The other thing I wanted to say, and I sent myself an email just to remember, is that yes, the province has legislated infill and intensification. And we have politicians who object to any kind of agricultural land being used for development. So the focus is going to be in urban centers. Port Dover particularly is undergoing tremendous change. We know of many commercial properties that are for sale. Some have been sold, like the Arbor has been sold. We know that the parking lot where the Norfolk Inn sat is changed, and the 3 properties behind have been torn down and sold. Change is inevitable. Inevitable. That means we have to work with change, not be strenuously against change. And that's why these folks are here, whoever else, on relative to Scott, and the next presentation that's coming up on Main Street. You have to work within the framework. So what else can I say that?
As long as it's related to the application that's before us today.
Yes, exactly. And what can I say about Scott Street? I've driven on Scott Street. I've visited people on Scott Street. Main Street, we see a condo development that exists there. We see other multi-story buildings that exist there. I was reading where somebody made the comment that water pressure would be affected. Well, I don't read anything in these presentations that's going to lower the height of the water tower, because that's what determines water pressure. In terms of parking, there are always going to be issues with parking, noise, traffic, dust during construction. We've heard all of that. We've heard all of it. So it gets thrown into the hopper and considered, and I'll shut up in 30 seconds and say, please live through the process, appreciate the process, work with the process, And I do admire the research that's gone on. And I say, I repeat myself, staff and council, listen. And the final arbiter is not with council. Because if somebody appeals, whether it's the developer or anyone in the public, it's going to go to the land tribunal. And they will decide. So don't be discouraged.
Thank you. Thank you for your
very
sharing
much.
your wisdom with us of your years of experience. Certainly appreciate that. Is there anyone further in chambers that wishes to make comment today? Is there anyone on the line that wishes to comment on this application that's before us today? And I'll just provide a final call for anyone in the gallery today. Okay, seeing none, I think at this time we will have a motion to receive all of the public comments that were made today regarding staff report CDS 25032. May I have a motion to that effect? Moved by Councillor Van de Driesche and seconded by Councillor Columbus. Call the question. All those in favor? And that's carried. I think it's appropriate at this time to return to staff and council for questions on the file. I do note Councillor Very had something. So Councillor Very, why don't you start us off while the remainder of council prepares their questions.
Sure, thanks, Chair. Just to Josh real quick. So it's come up a couple times about the PO box. And I see that there's comments from Canada Post in the report. I'm just trying to clarify who ultimately decides if there is a technical issue with the PO box. Is that staff here? Is that Canada Post? Is it MTO? Like who says yay or nay on the mailbox being impacted?
Through the chair, as far as I know, it is Canada Post. They provide comments to each and every application. So as far as I know, they would say yay or nay.
And just to follow up, so does that yay or nay, what stage does that typically come? Would it normally be now, or would that be related to site plan? Like when would they weigh in on concerns if there is any?
Further down in the process.
Okay, thank you.
That concludes your questions, Councillor Very, for this time?
It concludes that question. I may have others.
Fair. Councillor Columbus, then Councillor Van Passen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. From what we're hearing, it sounds like there's some real infrastructure issues here with the drainage and road widening. When is this street, Scott Street, supposed to be upgraded, infrastructure with respect to road widening, curb and gutter, and sidewalks?
Does Mr. Lambert or Mr. Grice want to take that one?
Through you, Mr. Chair, to the councillor, I believe Scott Drive sits in the capital forecast for 2027, earmarked for a water main replacement only at this point. It didn't have urbanization as part of its upgrade plan.
Anything further, Councillor Columbus? Okay, Councillor Van Passen.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. I got a couple of questions, but first one, I'm sorry, I've forgotten, but where is the cutoff point where site plan control is not required anymore?
Through the chair to Councillor Van Passen, 10 units or less does not require a site plan. So up to 10 units can be built without a site plan.
So, because we heard from the agent today that, you know, they're going to deal with all these issues with site plan control, but...
They are welcome to submit a site plan,
okay,
but it is not a requirement.
Okay, thank you. I'm just actually going to maybe ask that Ms. Cull, the manager of planning, step in on this one.
Thank you, Councillor Duthie. Through the chair to Councillor Van Passen, that is correct. I did hear that mentioned, but site plan would not be applied here. This is why we're applying the holding provision or proposing a holding provision. So anything that we would have typically requested at the site plan stage that we really need, such as water modeling, we would have to get that before the holding could be removed.
Okay, thank you. And my other question is for engineering. The Scott Street, when it was built, had very deep ditches. That's why water went downhill, and gradually, whether it was Mother Nature or not, most of those ditches got filled in. So if there is new development on that street, can we require that maybe it's time that we put piping under the ground and a catch basin and, you know, the shoulders, that there would be some on-street parking? Is that something that we could get the developer to do in front of their property at this time? Or, because yeah, the drainage is a problem there, but part of it is that fact that water goes downhill, right? So.
Mr. Lambert or Mr. Grice?
Through you, Mr. Chair, to the councillor, there's actually an underground storm sewer just north of the site, but it does not extend across the site. I believe the development proposal on this lot, as presented at this point, looks at trying to maximize infiltration into the ground to deal with its groundwater. That's why we asked for a holding provision, because there was no engineering support to suggest that actually could be achieved. I think one of the possible solutions would be to extend the sewer up to provide some drainage relief to the lot. The other issue obviously is parking. I believe the application is seeking to have some parking relief and therefore may look to use parking on the street, which right now it doesn't readily accommodate. So they could certainly be required to widen the road if that would be of benefit for the site. So certainly the two options of extending the storm sewer, perhaps urbanizing the road to accommodate some level of on-street parking, could be imposed upon them.
Okay, thank you. That would be something I hope that everybody would seriously consider. Fill in the ditch, put shoulders on it, or upgrade it to an urban road so you have room for on-street parking and a place for the water to go.
Drainage, yep. Okay, thank you. Councillor Brunton next.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My question is to a planner. Doesn't matter, Alicia or the gentleman. The R1A zone is single-family residential. What is the definition of an R4 zone?
Through the chair to Councillor Brunton, it is a higher density zone, so typically townhouses.
But is there can it be 20 units, or what's the definition?
You are allowed to have 8 units per townhouse, 8 dwelling units per townhouse dwelling. So basically a townhouse with 8 units. They've requested to have 10. You'll see condos, for example, that have multiple 8-unit blocks on them, but it's 8 units in the larger unit.
So I don't have my zoning bylaw in front of me. What's above R4?
Through the chair, there's R5 and R6, which permit apartment dwellings. So high-rise apartments.
So this doesn't move up to an R5. It's definitely an R4 zone, you're saying, right?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I'll just circle back to our Director of Engineering, Mr. Lambert. I think you had some further input you wanted to provide.
Through you, Mr. Chair, back to Councillor Van Passen on asking the question on imposing those conditions onto the property. Certainly, we've requested a hold to address a number of matters by proof of evidence of reports being submitted. Certainly, the hold could be extended to add an additional clause and that the applicant enter into the appropriate development agreement with the county in order to cause any external works to be completed as a condition of their approval. I only suggest that because typically you would have that power under site plan, and as was suggested to you or indicated that it wouldn't be subject to site plan, but it could certainly be added as a holding provision at this stage to cover that off.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lambert. Are there any further questions of committee? I see Councillor Very. Please go ahead.
Thanks, Chair. I don't know who this one's for, so I will start maybe with Alicia, and maybe it's to Al. I don't know. But one of the deputations mentioned that Oxford County is pushing back against provincial growth targets due to the unsustainable financial burden on taxpayers. So I'm going to probably be dealing with this issue for a while. I'm wondering, do we have, what is that? Do we know what that is? And if so, can I get that information so I can be prepared when people ask me about it?
Is Ms. Call or Mr. Meneses prepared to speak to that?
Not just me, I mean anybody. Obviously, all of council should know this because we're all going to be facing developments, right? So if there's references, I would like to have them.
Yep, through you, Mr. Chair, I can certainly start. There are, of course, municipalities in southwestern Ontario that are attempting to push back on the development file and trying to control development. I think there are varying successes on the ability of municipal councils to stop or curtail development planning. I don't know the specifics of Oxford, but we can certainly find out. I think we would be cautious to suggest that any municipality will have the power to stop development if the applications come forward, if they adhere to the provincial planning statement, the official plan and zoning and whatnot. It would be very difficult for municipalities to curtail or stop development from happening, but I don't know the specifics of Oxford. There might have been some things there that allowed them to temporarily pause or permanently stop a development, but we can certainly get some examples for you if you'd like.
Yeah, I would, because I mean, you know, we go to the meetings and we hear things in the community and we talk to staff and whatever else, and if there's something that we're missing or that we're not being, I just want to make sure that we're not having information held back on us here, that if those things are out there, that we know them as council, so when our residents ask us about them, we have that information and we're not sort of going, I don't know. Thanks.
Okay, any further questions of committee on this file? Okay, seeing none, I think we can move forward. So item 4.1A, communications, 9 Scott Drive, Port Dover petition. That has been submitted. It is included in the agenda package. However, in order to make it onto the post-meeting minutes, we'll need to be moved. So therefore, I would look for someone to move said petition. Moved by Councillor Brunton and seconded by Councillor Very. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you. Yes, Councillor Van Passen.
Did we actually accept the planner's report earlier on?
That's next.
Okay. So, a comment on that one, thank you.
Sure. Okay, so we've concluded all the discussion specifically on this item. So in order to wrap it up, we will look for a mover of the staff recommendation that is presented. So we'll start with moving, seconding, and then discussion on that. So can I have a mover, please, for the staff recommendation? Moved by Councillor Huffman, seconded by Councillor Van Passen. Discussion, please. Councillor Van Passen first.
Yes, thanks, Mr. Chairman. Before this, staff spent a lot more time work on it. I know that the agent for the applicant mentioned that they asked for 10 because they can always go down, they can't go up. And see, if I do the math on here, and if you went from 10 to 8, pretty well solves the parking problem, it solves the size problem, it solves a lot of problems by downsizing it by a notch. And if this process proceeds as per all our rules and regs and the provincial rules, maybe it could proceed at 8, not 10, and it might solve a lot of problems. So just throwing that out there.
Councillor Very, did I see your hand, or was that to second? Okay, any further discussion on this item? Okay, call the question on the motion that's on the floor. Has been moved and seconded. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you very much. So just to members of the gallery, all of your content, questions, comments, concerns have been heard today. They will be noted by staff and will be discussed amongst staff and with the applicant and their agent moving forward, and will come back to us with answers in a follow-up staff report. Do we have a timeline, roughly speaking, Mr. Mueller or Ms. Collins?
Through the chair, ideally, I would like to bring it to the September 23rd council meeting. I will have to take everything today into consideration, and I will do my best to bring it to that meeting so we can get this done as quickly as possible.
Thank you. That seems ambitious, but we'll aim for September. It might be October, but thank you for that. Okay.
I didn't say what year, though.
I appreciate that. I appreciate your confidence. Okay. Item 4.2, 711 Main Street, Port Dover zoning bylaw amendment. It is report.
Can we just give everybody a chance to, if they want to leave, just, okay. Like 2 minutes.
We'll take a quick 5-minute break.
Minutes, okay, sure. Okay.
Allow people to refill their coffee, and if the gallery wants to clear out, feel free.
From your home arrives at this facility where it is manually sorted by the type of material. You can see why it's important to separate materials into the correct bin, rinse recyclables, and remove items from bags. This facility processes 4,600 metric tons per year. That's equal to about 20 tons per day. Once items are sorted by material type, they are baled and ready to be shipped across North America to be made into new material. About 8 to 10% of the material that arrives here shouldn't have been put in the recycling bin. Residents can use our Recycle Coach app to confirm if an item can be recycled. After seeing how waste is handled, I hope this video helps show why rinsing and sorting your recyclables are important steps in the recycling process. As a Norfolk County employee, I am proud to serve the community I was raised in. Thanks for joining me on this behind-the-scenes tour.
Hey Norfolk County! Whether you're a longtime resident, new to the area, or simply visiting, do you know about the many services provided by Norfolk County? As a single-tier municipality, we provide services that our community uses every day, including water and fire protection, curbside garbage and recycling, road and sidewalk maintenance, and so much more. We also provide services needed at unique times in life, such as a marriage or business license, or a dog tag for your new companion. And the unique geographic features in Norfolk County, from farmland and forests to lakes and wetlands, means we also provide specialized services ranging from drainage applications to tree inspections. Wondering how to contact Norfolk County? Start with Service Norfolk. Our friendly team of agents is here to help. Reach us by phone at 519-426-5870 or 226 Norfolk from 8:30 to 4:30 Monday to Friday. Calling about an issue after hours? No problem. We have you covered. Prefer online? Email askus@norfolkcounty.ca anytime, or use our customer service portal at service.norfolkcounty.ca and get a reply right to your email inbox. Want to visit us in person? Come to one of our friendly customer service counters in Simcoe, Monday to Friday, or Delhi, Tuesday to Thursday. Service Norfolk, connecting you to Norfolk County services.
Hey Norfolk County, my name is Anna and I'm here to share some water safety tips to keep you and your family safe around the water. Knowing how to swim is a life skill and an essential part of staying safe and having fun. Swimming lessons are the best way to learn essential swim survival skills to recover from a fall into deep water. Think you're too old for lessons? There are programs designed for teens and adults as well. With so many lakes and rivers, Canadians of all ages are avid boaters. Always wear a life jacket, it could save your life. Never swim alone, regardless of age and skill level. Always swim with a buddy. A buddy can throw you a buoyant aid if you get into trouble. When possible, wade into unknown waters to prevent injury. Backyard pools are a great place to make family memories. But remember, if you are not within arm's reach of your child in and around the water, then you've gone too far. Drowning can occur in as little as 10 seconds and it is silent. Every drowning death is preventable. Take time to educate yourself and those around you to ensure you're staying safe and having fun around the water. For more information, visit norfolkcounty.ca/watersafety.
This summer, discover the hidden gem of Norfolk County, Ontario's garden. Stroll through historic villages where time seems to slow down. Feel the sand between your toes on our pristine Lake Erie beaches. From live theater that captivates to trails that wind through breathtaking landscapes, adventure and relaxation await at every turn. Meet the farmers who grow your dinner and taste wine and beer crafted right here. Experience Norfolk County this summer, where small-town charm meets farm-fresh flavor. Ontario's Garden. It's time you came home to it.
Today we're announcing an exciting partnership with Scott Lynn and Norfolk County Economic Development, and we're transforming transport trailers into mobile ambassadors. We're showcasing Norfolk's story of opportunity, excellence, and quality of life across
Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. Welcome back. Appreciate the indulgence there. We'll move, if I can just get a little bit of quiet, please, from the gallery. 4.2, 711 Main Street, Port Dover, zoning bylaw amendment, CDS 25-028. Once again, this afternoon, we'll turn to Mr. Josh Mueller, planner, to introduce his report. Josh, when you're ready, please go ahead.
Good afternoon. Through the chair to council, this is a zoning proposal for the property at 711 Main Street in Port Dover. You can see before you on the screen the site characteristics. This is also a zoning bylaw to amend from R1, residential type 1, residential 1 type 1, R1A to residential type 4, with special provisions to allow for a multi-unit townhouse development. Those are the zoning maps and the official plan maps. Technical reports have been submitted. Technical comments are included in the report. And there has been some public input received, included in the report and distributed before the meeting started. The subject lands are not vacant. There is a dwelling on the land. It is recommended that staff report CD 25-028 for development application ZNPL 2025173 be received for information, and that further that any comments received at this meeting will be part of a further report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Josh. Are there any questions of committee at this stage of the report and of our planning staff? Okay, seeing none, we'll circle back to you in a little bit. So we have two registered speakers for this report. 4.2A is Mr. Eldon Darbison of Valley Consulting, who is the agent on the file. So welcome, Eldon, if you want to come forward to the podium. Much like everyone else, you'll have 5 minutes for your deputation, and I'll let you know as per the procedural bylaw when you have 1 minute remaining. If you maybe just pause for just 1 second. There's some noise out in the hallway, and truthfully, I'm having a hard time hearing up here, so. Okay, that seems better. Thank you. Please go ahead when you're ready.
Very good. Thanks for having me. My name is Eldon Darbison. I'm a registered professional planner with G. Douglas Valley Limited here in Simcoe. The applicants are Tim and Laura Roger. Tim is here with me this afternoon. Mr. Mueller identified the property location on Main Street. This neighborhood is a mixed density neighborhood. It's made up of townhouses, semi-detached dwellings, an apartment building, and some single detached dwellings. It's located on the south side of Main Street in Port Dover, and there's a handful of community facilities. There's an elementary school, there's the Port Dover Community Center, and it's all within walking distance and right down the street from the downtown Port Dover. It's designated urban area in the official plan, and it's also within the Lakeshore Special Policy Area. The surrounding uses are residential, institutional, commercial, and some recreational. Quite a vast diversity. So this proposal is, it proposes to replace an existing single detached dwelling with a 12-unit stacked townhouse. It's a mix of 1 bedrooms on the lower areas and 3 bedrooms on the upper areas. There's an internal private service driveway with shared access, 23 parking spaces, including 4 visitor parking spaces. We're proposing landscape buffers, privacy screening, and the rear laneway, there's a laneway back there, it's 20 feet, and it provides some additional separation between the properties and the rear yard. Next slide, please. These are conceptual elevations, which would be subject to site plan control. Next slide, please. This is the side elevations. I just want to point out that these meet the maximum height requirement of 11 meters, which is similar to all the zoning in the immediate area. Next slide, please. These are the floor plans. They're very general. The plans on the left represent the single bedroom units in the lower level. The drawings to the right and on the next slide represent the upper level for 3 bedrooms. Next slide, please. So this is a zoning bylaw amendment from R1 to an R4. There's some special provisions proposed. The lot area unit we're proposing actually what we need because the zoning bylaw assigns lot area requirements based on whether you have based on a garage. There's no garage for this application, so we're proposing a lot unit area. We're also proposing an increase from 8 to 12 units because they're stacked. Rear yard setback of 3 meters from 7.5 based on that fire lane, and some adjustments to the location of the parking spaces within the lot. We're looking for 24 spaces being reduced to 19, maintaining the required visitor parking spaces. This will be subject to a future site plan control because it is 12 units. Then there'll be an opportunity to look at site function, control elements of the proposed development, including servicing, stormwater, landscaping, access, and hard surfaces. Next slide, please. So planning rationale. This is supported by the provincial planning statement. It introduces a diversity of housing types, an efficient use of lands, and intensification within a fully serviced settlement area. It conforms to the Norfolk official plan. It's designated urban residential within the Lakeshore Special Policy Area, where infill is supported and encouraged. It's compatible in scale and use, so it transitions well within this already established mixed density neighborhood. It complements existing residential types and is designed to enhance the facade along the street through building design, orientation, and landscaping. The area is made up of several forms of townhouses, apartments, and semis, and single detached dwellings. This development will contribute to that mix. From a functional design standpoint, it relies on the existing infrastructure that's there. It's supported by traffic, stormwater, and servicing studies. Next slide for parking reduction and setbacks. So this aligns with the PPS. It supports housing diversity, affordability. It's a walkable, transit-supportive development. The site provides sufficient parking comparable to a 6-unit apartment with 6 ADUs. So in that case, only 20 spaces would be provided. We actually have 23. It's compatible, and so in terms of the shortfall of 5 spaces, it's negligible in light of the site context and policy alignment and the realistic parking needs of future occupants. The setbacks are reasonable and justified through spatial separation and fencing and landscaping, and the number of units is appropriate compared to other developments in the area. We'll skip the next couple slides. There we go. So this checks all the boxes. So it's consistent with provincial and municipal policy. It uses existing infrastructure. It adds attainable housing variety and a growing community. And I have to admit, the one reason why we're applying for 12 units is because there's potential to condominiumize these things so that they can be sold if the owner so chooses. And that's why we're actually applying for that. Otherwise, if we would apply for a 6-unit, unit with 6 ADUs, which would not be subject to site plan control, similar to the discussion on the previous application. So this is supported by technical details and represents good planning. Thank you very much.
Okay, Mr. Darberson, thank you so much. I will turn to committee for questions. I saw Councillor Van Passen first. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm glad that the agent touched on that little one, because I think that's actually the most important question. Because is it going to be a condominium, or are they going to be separate units? Because a condominium, oh yeah, where's the garbage go? Because that's their problem. Where's all those things? When they're all under private ownership, it's a different set of rules. So I would like to get an answer one way or the other. Is it going to be an apartment building that you rent out the units? Is it going to be a condominium development? Or is it going to be freehold on 6 different units with ADUs? Pick one. We can't deal with all 3 options at this point.
So we're applying for the 12 units so that it has potential to be condominiums. You can't, if we applied for the alternative, then the condominiums would include 6 units with 6 ADUs. So we have to apply, similar to the other presentation, we have to apply for the maximum to allow for that future potential. Garbage will be controlled either way because of the form of development in which we're proposing, it has to be subject to site plan control. So there will be garbage accommodation as well. And I know it wasn't asked, but Canada Post would be very interested in providing comments in terms of mail delivery as well through that stage as well. I hope I answered your question. No, I did. Okay.
Thank you very much. Are there further questions of committee? Councillor Brunton.
The maybe or maybe not issue of condominium potential, if I can use that word.
Sure.
Our policy says if it's condominium, the property owners look after the stormwater management issue, correct? I believe that's what our understanding is. If it stays as rental, we don't. And I find that a little odd, but I think that's our policy. I guess, and something planning should keep in mind that if it becomes somehow a condominium at a later date, your infiltration gallery should be the responsibility of the landowners.
I will pause here and just say it's a zoning bylaw amendment that we're here for today, so this would be something that would probably be considered in site plan. So Mr. Iverson, I won't ask you to respond to that at this point, but staff will note the question and discuss it later. Thank you, Councillor Brunton. Are there further questions? Okay, seeing none. Eldon, thank you very much. The next registered speaker on this is Mr. Rick Rozak, I believe. So Rick, if you are present in the gallery, please come forward to the podium. Much like everybody else, sir, you have 5 minutes for your presentation, and I'll let you know when you've got 1 minute remaining. That microphone looks to me to be turned off, so it's the button on the right-hand side of that.
Okay. Good afternoon. Through you, Mr. Chair, to members of council, my name is Rick Rozak, and I live at 728 St. George Street, and I'm going to speak to traffic and parking pertaining the 711 Main Street application. The traffic study that was done by Paradigm developed in February 2025, to me, is a bit misleading and ambiguous and not reflective of current realities. It is ambiguous because, though it is in fact a traffic study performed to assess traffic flow and turning movement data over an 8-hour period, this was done on February 20th of 2025. It is curious that the turning movement and sight lines were deemed acceptable on perhaps one of the slowest volume traffic days of the entire year. As a parking note, and I'm a bit confused now with the amount of parking that's available, it seems to me that that's at the ratio of 1.25, so what do I do with the other 3/4 of the car? Do I take that into the apartment with me, or what do I do with that? So here we are. I don't think there is enough parking. So As a parking note, no parking is allowed on Main Street during snow removal, thus identifying another issue with inadequate parking spaces and subsequent overflow from 7-Eleven. Any comparison, which was mentioned in the report, to 800 Main Street becomes an apples to oranges argument because those residents have 2 exits from their property. Because there are no parking hash marks on Main Street, overflow parking may present an impediment to sight lines for neighboring residents who are down from that development, attempting to egress from their driveways. It is certainly not reflective of current realities because MTO traffic movement data on Main Street, which is, as you know, an arterial road, is based on 2019 information, the time frame and year that COVID was emerging as a worldwide health threat 6 years ago. A recent, though informal, traffic study was completed recently by a neighbor to the property, Marilyn Butler, who counted and manually recorded north-south traffic flow on Main Street and turning movement on Main and Greenock. Though informal and not using spreadsheets to collate data, her observations and notations nonetheless are startling in comparison to the seemingly benign conclusion derived by Paradigm. Counting traffic flow along Main Street at varying intervals of 10 minutes, half an hour to an hour, all of which are dependent on whatever interruptions normal living injects, the following was noted. On August 26, total time spent counting traffic was 2 hours and 50 minutes, resulting in 1,631 cars. August 27, total time spent counting traffic was 2.5 hours, resulted in 1,176 cars. On August 28th, the total time spent counting traffic was 7 hours, 10 minutes, resulting in 3,863 cars. Perhaps the most startling numbers come from the first day of school, yesterday, September the 2nd. Mrs. Butler situated herself so that she could observe the intersection of Main and Greenock from 7:12 to 9:09 a.m., which is a 2-hour window. She observed 56 southbound cars, including a number of buses making right-hand turns onto Greenock. She observed 5 southbound cars making left-hand turns onto Greenock. She observed 71 cars, including 6 buses making left-hand turns from Greenock to go north on Main. She observed 4 northbound cars making right-hand turns onto Greenock. She observed 37 vehicles on Greenock West turning left onto Main Street.
1 minute.
She observed 7 cars on Greenock crossing Main Street going west on Greenock and the same number crossing east to west and west to east. 10 adults and 20 children used that crosswalk. Total number of cars going north, 350. Total number going south, 365 within that 2-hour window. In summary, residents are not afraid of change, and we understand the need for housing in this province. This project, however, is too big for the size of the property and will generate overflow parking because of the lack of on-site parking space for residents. The overflow raises safety concerns in the neighborhood and at the very least requires another traffic study based on our current realities. I advise a prudent and thoughtful consideration for the quality of life in a neighborhood that is primarily low-rise, single-family, and semi-detached dwellings, and that this project adapt itself to the character and safety considerations of the neighborhood. Thank you for your indulgence.
Thank you. Okay, I appreciate your comments. Is there any questions from committee? Councillor Very, please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Thanks a lot, Rick. That's really helpful, all that information. So I'm wondering, have you sent that to planning?
No.
Would you mind?
I can, sure.
Well, just because it
helps. It's rough.
I understand
through
that.
the chair to the councillor.
Yeah, you know what, fair enough. What I'm suggesting, though, is that may be something that they would look at and say, we should take a look.
Certainly.
I would also, if you don't mind, would you send it to me also, because I'd like to provide that to our traffic project manager, just so that he has a sense of that as we continue to work on those areas. So it's semi-related, but if you don't mind, I'd appreciate it.
Through the chair to the councillor, yes, I will.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? Seeing none, thank you very much, Mr. Rozak.
Thank you.
Okay. Are there any other individuals in chambers who wish to speak to this report today? If so, please come forward to the podium. Yeah, okay, please come forward. That's totally fine. So if you come forward, please just state your name and the town in which you live for the public record, okay? You'll have 5 minutes. Is that, if you just turn on the microphone there, it's the button on the right. Councillor Van Passen will help you. You've got 5 minutes, and I'll let you know when you've got one left, okay?
Yeah, my name is Dolores Kozlowski. I live at 800 Main. And I got to make a statement. The children come by through our property all the time, and they cross over to Alma Street, right? So they built this, I don't know what you call it, the crosswalk, and they built it at the other end of my property. But the problem is that if this new development starts up, they have to come right into the main part of the street, because when they built that crosswalk, they closed it in and took that space away for cars to keep going. It was my thought is put a stoplight there, you know, and get rid of that space, or maybe put a stoplight where we are at 800 Main. It's just an idea, because it's like there's so many children passing by, it's unbelievable. And when we first started our complex, which was 20 years ago, we were supposed to have like a gate, but the fire department wouldn't let us because we can exit both St. Andrew or Main Street. And it's really difficult, and we own the street, you know, like our driveway between the two streets. So it's difficult to keep the people from traveling on our property constantly. The kids, they rollerblade, everything happens. And it's very scary to pull out on our street, you know. So I just want to make that point, that maybe you need a stoplight there, or fix that other, you know, area where the kids travel.
Okay. Dolores, thank you for your comments and your suggestions. I just want to confirm you're talking about the bump out crosswalk at Greenock there, is that right?
But yeah, that's
okay.
Yeah, it's really constricting it's Main Street, you know. How can you, didn't someone hit the post when they first put it up? I don't know. But
I'm not familiar. But.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any questions of the deputation? Seeing none, thank you very much, Dolores. Next speaker, please come on up. Again, 5 minutes like everybody else. State your name and the town in which you live for the public record, please.
I'm Peter Ziegler. I'm at, where am I at?
Just need your town. Your address doesn't matter.
St. George Street, Port Dover. I knew this was going to happen. We've had a lot of concerns. We had 36 people get together to have a meeting to bring them out. We're talking about the unit sizes going from 195 square meters down to 158 square meters, which is against the bylaw. 8 units is the maximum you're allowed to put up there. That's the bylaw. 2 parking spots per unit is the bylaw. When it comes to snow removal, where are they going to put it? Our grounds are built on a marsh, which gets wet all the time in the winter with the melting and everything. Our sump pumps are working constantly. They're going to have to push that snow somewhere. At St. Andrews and Main, the condos there, those people have to get off that parking lot so that the contractors can come in and clean it out. Where are the people at 7-Eleven going to put their vehicles when this happens? Being a main artery on Main Street as well as St. George Street because of the school, there's no parking on the side streets or anything like that in there. So it just comes down to how are they going to deal with that? Swale that's being built on the backside of it, according to the plan, is going to be almost right at the fence line with the neighbor beside them on that side. Which way is that water going to be out? Because you can't, we don't think it should be going in our direction towards St. George, because we already have water issues ourselves because of the clay. Okay, garbage bins is something that people have talked about as well, and that's not our issue yet. Where's this mail drain? Snow route, capacity. And again, we're also looking at the same thing with the vehicles coming and going, and that bump out for the crossing is just 68 meters, I think it is, away from their entrance. People turning left, people turning right. It already takes you forever to make one of those turns coming off Alma or Greenock. And at that bump out, I've had traffic go around me when I'm making a left-hand turn on the Greenock and almost hit that bump out. See it at the last second. And a lot of the traffic there just doesn't come to a stop when you hit that buzzer to get that done. But again, parking spaces and the maximum number of units that's allowed, all of us, I believe, as a community there, have objected to this going to 12 units and only having 19 parking spots for them, when most people nowadays have at least 2 cars. I think I'm pretty much covering everything on this portion of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I will ask if there are any questions of committee of this deputation. Seeing none. Peter, thanks so much for sharing your time and your comments with us.
Thanks.
You can probably leave it on, actually. It's okay. Yeah, come on up. If you can state your name and the town in which you live for the public record, please. You'll have 5 minutes.
Yep, I'm Carol Eichelman. I live in Port Dover. I actually live at 705 Main Street, which is the house right where the crosswalk is. And I've been told that cars have missed the crosswalk and gone up over my property, and because they've missed the needing to stop in time for the crosswalk, and also the bump out makes them forget that it's there at night and they've gone across my property. That's one thing. I just have a question for the applicant. If just for zoning, I understand this is just for the zoning change, if the Haldimand Norfolk Housing Corporation is involved in the application at this stage.
So we won't necessarily have answers to the questions today, but it will be noted and be responded to in the report that comes back. So
great.
If there's anything further, you have additional time. If not, thanks for your time.
That's it.
Are there any questions of the deputation at this time? I'm guessing not. Seeing none, thank you so much, Carol. Okay, next speaker, sir, come on up. State your name and the town in which you live for the public record, please.
Hi, my name is Lee Copeman. I live at 712 St. George Street. I live directly behind where this is supposed to be built. I'm here today because I feel if I don't say something, I'm going to have to look at this monstrosity for the rest of my life if it is passed. I find it hard to comprehend that anyone would vote to allow this beautiful house and its big backyard and its big old trees to be demolished and replaced with some concrete box in a parking lot. I've received a letter in a mail 2 weeks ago, and in that time I'm supposed to have found a technicality on why this shouldn't be built, and I have 5 minutes to present my argument. Meanwhile, the people that want to build this place have had since they purchased the property to come up with a proposal free of as many technicalities as possible. I can neither have the time, financing, or legal background to compete with that. I'm growing tired of watching my small town become a little Hamilton, pouring concrete and asphalt in the name of progress. It used to be a place to get away from the city. Now it seems like it's in a race to become something it's not. Please prove me wrong and deny this proposal and any other like it that may come after it to prevent further erosion of my home from happening before it is too late. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lee. Are there questions? Seeing none. Thank you so much. Next, please come forward. Again, 5 minutes, and if you can state your name and the town in which you reside.
My name is Helen. I reside just outside of Port Dover. I just wanted to get up here and introduce myself as the owner of a luxury boutique hotel on St. George Street that I believe everyone in Port Dover has said many compliments about. Yet just a few years ago, we were up here in front of council being accused of building a drug den and a flop house, selling cannabis and adult videos and toys. I just hope that members of council will consider treating people who want to invest in our community not as the enemy, not as Machiavellian monsters focused on destroying the lovely character of our small towns, but as future partners in helping our community grow in sustainable and reasonable ways. If we treat those developers and those people wanting to build like the enemy, they will become the enemy. And unfortunately, there are a whole bunch of rules and laws and bylaws and all sorts of other legal ways that they can completely circumvent what we want if we do not act reasonably. So I hope that both the community that sometimes likes to get up in arms to rail against something without having all of the information about what is being proposed, and council will approach this in a reasonable manner and try and collaborate with the people willing to invest in our community instead of fighting against them at every turn.
Ellen, thank you for your comments and sharing your thoughts with us. Are there questions? Seeing none, thank you very much. Okay, next, sir. Yeah, come forward. Again, 5 minutes like everybody else. State your name and the town in which you reside.
My name's Brett. I live at 708 Main Street. I'm concerned about the parking. I know when somebody's parking on either side of my driveway, I can't get out. I have to stick my nose out, maybe get run into. And if all those cars, where are they going to park? They don't have enough parking. They don't have any green space, is what I can tell. So I agree with what everybody else has been saying. I know with cars parked out there, that crosswalk is hard to see. Kids are walking across. I know right now, people go through there all the time. You basically have to push the button, look both ways before you go out. Maybe red flashing lights are better than yellow. I don't know. It's just more, do I want to set a precedent on Main Street, Port Dover, to have people parking on our street? I don't get that. Anyway, that's all I had to say. Thank you.
Okay, Brett, thanks for your time. Any questions? Seeing none? Okay, thank you very much. Is there anyone else? Anyone else hiding behind? Yeah, okay, please come forward. Oh, okay. So again, if you can just state your name for the record and the town in which you reside, you've got 5 minutes.
Thank you. My name is Danelda Powell Ferracholi. I've lived on that block that includes 711 Main Street for 56 years. I am not opposed to change, but I am in agreement with everything that's been said today. One thing that I do want to point out is I don't want anything going on with that alleyway that's back there, because I do own a property that is back there with a barn on it, and I do need to have access to that. I do not want to see any of this stuff cut off so that I can't get to my property. The other thing is about the water. We've all been under water problems along St. George and Main Street for years. It is Haldeman clay. It does tend to accumulate there. There is a lot of water that lays around in the springtime. My sump pump, I've had a flood within the last 2 years, so I know all about this kind of thing that goes on with the water, and I'm very concerned about that because of the drainage of that property and the changes that it could create. And that's really about it.
Okay, Danelda, thank you so much for your comments. Are there any questions? Seeing none, you're free to go. Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts. Next, yeah, if you can come forward, state your name and the town in which you reside. You'll have 5 minutes.
Don't look at me like that. Hi, I'm Ev Deming. I no longer live in the town of Port Dover. Recently, I just moved out, but this town does have my heart. And this particular spot, since I was a young girl in my early 20s, that was always my dream home. I don't know why, I've always loved it. I hate to see establishments like this come to an end in Port Dover. I think homes like that and a lot of other of the beautiful homes in Port Dover are what brought us here to Port Dover. At least it did for me. I don't honestly think that property is big enough for what is proposed. I'm not against change. I've had to put up with it in Port Dover. I have come before council many times. As a young mother, I am responsible for the lights up by No Frills. And I fought long and hard with John Wells to have that done. I think, you were there, Chris, in the day, so I don't take no for an answer. But I do understand this is not up to me. My concern about this property is, one, the bump out. Up until last year, I delivered for Willard's Pharmacy, and we had a customer there. And coming in and off the property, pulling out onto Main with that bump out, which is right by the driveway, is a little bit of a problem. You have to be careful pulling in, pulling out. I don't know how they're going to rectify that with an apartment complex. My question is, are these rentals? Are they owned? Are they for the family? And the laneway behind, is that an access point for this structure? Are they going to use it as an emergency to get out, to get into their parking? I'm just kind of wondering about that. I'm heartbroken to see this home be torn down, as I would be a lot of homes. The facade in Port Dover is beautiful, and it's what brings people here. There's a lot of surrounding property that can be built, putting apartments, condos, whatever you want to call it, can be put out there. We got a lot of property around town that's been destroyed lately. Start building on that. But I'd like to see this home stay. I'm sorry it was bought to be torn down. And I just have questions as to the accessibility. These apartments or condos, whatever you call them, are they for families? Are they single dwelling? I think that matters a lot, and yeah, parking. And I think it would really hurt the homes around it financially. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Ev. Are there any comments or questions from committee? Seeing none, thank you very much. Thanks for sharing your comments. Okay, is there anyone further in the gallery that wishes to speak? Okay, come forward. Same as last time.
Thank you to the chair and council. My questions regarding this particular development are in terms of the parking. Now, I know at one point it said it was 24 and then 19, and with either number, there's going to be overflow parking on the street. But have you also considered visitor parking, tradespeople parking? You know, we get some pretty busy weekends in Port Dover, obviously, and lots of people like to come to visit you when you're at a beach town. So that needs to be taken into consideration. I'd also like to ask, and I don't think we've received an answer on this, how many dwellings or units have already been approved but not built in Port Dover? I would like to get an answer to that. And in conjunction with that question, what is the projected burden on our water system, given those unbuilt but approved builds? I know there's, I think, like 350 for McKeel's property, at least 90 for Meisner Landing. I think there was like 400 and some out Lynn River Heights, but I couldn't get all that information from any source, and it was requested. So I'd like to receive that, please.
Okay, so just again, I'll reiterate, as I said before, the purpose of today is for those questions to be posed. They'll be captured by staff and addressed in a later subsequent report.
Terrific, thank you.
Thank you. Anything further? Okay. Is there anyone on the line? Oh, Monty.
Yes, thanks, Mr. Chairman. Everybody has my comments, my written comments. They've been submitted, and I look forward to seeing the report. I got to run. I got an appointment to attend to. I just wanted to say hello to all the familiar faces here I haven't seen in a number of years. And you guys take care, okay? Have a great day. Any questions?
Questions of Mr. Sonnenberg. There we go. Thank you very much. Thanks for your comments.
Okay.
Okay, is there anyone on the line who wishes to speak to the report? And a final call, anyone in the gallery or anyone on the line who wishes to speak to the report that's before you today? Seeing none, I'll look for a mover then to move all of the public comments made by Councillor Huffman and seconded by Councillor Very. Call the question. All those in favor? And that is carried. Let's circle back to planning staff. Questions of committee for planning staff, please. Councillor Van Passen first.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. I'll try to get some better luck with an answer on the same question. Is it possible to sever that thing? Because one of the conditions I always look at with a severance is they need access on an open municipal road, and with the orientation of the building, they don't have that. So are they severable after they're built?
No. Through the chair to Councillor Van Passen, no, not condos, they're not.
But if it's built the way it is, can they go and sever 6 units this way and 2 high? How do you do that?
No, it would be 1 unit. It would be one special. It would be one building with 6 units in each building, or each building would have those units.
But how do different people own each one of those units?
The microphone's on. There we go. Ms. Kalla, looks like you might have some comment to share. Please go ahead.
Through the chair to Councillor Van Passen. So just to confirm, you're wondering how they could, I guess they could do it through a condo. They can't sever them though in terms of making all separate lots that they could sell individually, because like you said, they need frontage on Main Street. Does that answer the question?
Well,
No?
see, I asked before, is this going to be like a building with 12 rental units in it? Is it going to be a condominium that each person can own one of the 12 units within a condominium corporation? Or is it going to be 12 separate units that are, each one is a freehold unit? It's got to be one of those, but I don't think it can be that last one. I'm not sure it could be the condo. It's either going to be a condo thing or they could be rental units. So am I getting, at least I'm narrowed down to 2 out of 3 instead of no answer at all? Like,
go ahead, Ms. Call, but then I think we'll cut it off after that, simply because we're here to discuss the zoning bylaw amendment, and I'm struggling to draw the connection. So,
well, the zoning bylaw amendment on what? They require different things. So if it is a single building,
but the application that's before us is not.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. What is the application for? Either it's for this type of building or it's for this type of building, and the requirements for those 2 different types of building are different. So you can't ask for the requirements of this type of building and then build this.
Something separate. Okay, I follow where you're going. Ms. Call, do you have a more clear, transparent answer on that?
Through the chair, I think so. It would have to be a condo to sell each unit separately. Yes.
All right, Councillor Brunton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My question is somewhat related, but it refers to zoning, and I'll get to that. If this application goes ahead now in its current state of 12 units, he has a site plan agreement, correct? And he has, does the development agreement go with the site plan agreement, or is that included?
Through the chair, the site plan would not be required yet. This is just a rezoning
I understand
allow that. But they would need a site plan, yes. They would need it, and more than likely, we would ask for a site plan agreement.
Well, it's over.
We would ask for a site plan
It's
agreement.
over 10 units, right?
Yes, there would be a site plan required.
Does that include a development agreement?
It would be a site plan agreement, which is basically a development agreement, yes.
Included?
Yes.
So my question is, if they want to have condominiums, does that require rezoning?
No,
Plain and
because
simple.
those are permitted. In the R4 zone, those are permitted.
No, that's not answering the question.
Okay, hang on just one sec. I feel like we might be getting some wires crossed here just a touch. So, Ms. Cole, you had your hand up. Do you want to provide some clarity? And then within that context, let's make sure that we have clarity on the question as well. Okay? Ms. Cole, go ahead.
Sure, through the chair. So the condominium is just a form of ownership. So it doesn't matter whether it's rentals or condos, the same zoning rules apply.
Okay, but it starts as a rental unit. He applies for that. If a year from now he comes back in and wants condominiums, does he have to rezone? That's all I'm asking.
Through the chair, no, he would not.
Okay, thank you.
There we go. Okay, thank you very much. Further questions? No further questions of committee on this? Okay, Councillor Berry, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. I'm asking, I guess, for a little bit of indulgence here, but I have a question for Darnell about the laneway that is behind, or if it's a fire lane, or what is it? That was something that was brought up twice, and so I sent an email a bit ago asking just about how that would affect access to the property in behind, and can people use it as a driveway? Like, how does that work? And if we could sort of put that to bed, I'd appreciate it.
Through you, Mr. Chair, to Councillor Very's question, yes, there is a strip of land through the back between a number of lots, I believe through that connects Alma Street to, I forget the other street, but essentially it runs in the back lots that is owned by, if I'm not mistaken, Norfolk County. There is one property owner that derives access to the rear of their property from that. I believe you just saw a hand come up over there. I believe that would be the owner that derives access from there. The proposal before you today does not seek to derive any access from that. And if they wish to, there would have to be a request to Norfolk County as the landowner in order to achieve that.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Okay, I think that completes the questions of our staff on this application. So with that, I would look for a mover and seconder on the staff recommendation that is presented today. Moved by Councillor Brunton and seconded by Councillor Columbus. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. Thank you. What time do we have? 5:17. Okay, let's continue on. 4.3. Are we good? Do we need a quick break? Yeah, we'll do another couple minutes here and allow the gallery to clear.
All of North America, and Scotland is the ideal partner with an amazing logistics network and will help us share our story all across North America.
Meet Captain Clean, the toilet paper superhero, here to protect Norfolk County's pipes and keep everything flowing smoothly. Remember, only flush the 3 Ps: pee, poop, and toilet paper. Flushing anything else can cause big trouble. Things like wipes, hair, or grease can create sewer blockages. These blockages restrict flow, combine with other debris, and cause costly damage, overflow, and even water pollution. By sticking to the 3 Ps, you can help prevent clogs, reduce repair costs, and keep our water clean. For items you can't flush, proper disposal is key. Throw regular waste in the garbage. Do not believe claims on packaging that products are flushable. Take it from Captain Clean, they are not. Household hazardous waste can be dropped off at Norfolk's temporary depots during spring and fall. For things like medication and sharps disposal, take them to your local pharmacy or the health unit. And remember, grease belongs in the trash, but let it cool and store it first. Don't pour it down the drain. Be a flushing hero like Captain Clean. Together we can protect our pipes, our homes, and the environment. Remember, only flush the 3 Ps. Norfolk County is counting on you.
Soon after, members of council and I took our seats right here in council chambers last November, we began to plan the direction we'd like to see Norfolk County take over the next 4 years and beyond. A direction that builds on our strengths and sets a strong foundation in place for future generations. We looked outward to the people of Norfolk for input. We listened to you, the valued members of our community, From our sandy lake shores, our vibrant downtowns, our picturesque countryside, and our bountiful farmland. We engaged leaders from local businesses and community agencies. We gathered ideas from our team across the county. Based on what we've heard, we created Our Future Norfolk, a set of priorities that focuses on 5 key areas: empowering Norfolk, building Norfolk, connecting Norfolk, serving Norfolk, and sustaining Norfolk. These priorities, along with the initiatives and activities that drive them, will guide council and staff as we work together to serve you and all of the members of our community over the next 4 years. On behalf of Norfolk County Council and staff, we invite you to check out our website at norfolkcounty.ca/Our Future Norfolk and return frequently to learn more about our path to a vibrant and strong future for all of us, now and in the years to come.
Hi, I am Mohammed from Norfolk County Planning Department. We get a lot of questions at the Planning Department, and this video series will answer some of those. The first big question is, what is the official plan? Norfolk County's official plan describes Council's policy on how lands in our community should be used, managed, and developed. It is prepared with community input and helps to ensure the future planning and development will meet the specific needs of our community. An official plan includes issues such as where new housing, industry, offices, and shops will be located, and what services like roads, water mains, sewers, parks, and schools will be needed. It also defines when and in what order our community will grow and outlines community improvement initiatives. The official plan is approved by the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing in Ontario. The current official plan was adopted in 2016 with a goal to manage the growth of this county for the next 20 years. Residents can see Norfolk County official plan on our website at norfolkcounty.ca/official plan. What is a secondary plan? A secondary plan is a more detailed policy document embedded within the official plan to address the growth and development issues unique to a specific area of the county. For example, the lakeshore area in Norfolk County or a particular urban area with defined characteristics can be a secondary plan. As I mentioned, it is a more detailed policy document. It provides directions on where future development will occur with a guideline on density, road access, infrastructure services, different building types, building heights, or even design guidelines that are compatible to that specific area. In Norfolk County, there is only one secondary plan at this moment, which is the Lakeshore Special Policy Area Secondary Plan. The Port Dover Secondary Plan would be the second plan the county is working on at this moment. What does the land use designation of a property mean? Norfolk County's official plan also identifies how individual land or a group of lands will be used, and this is done by the land use designation. In Norfolk County, a lot of lands have been designated as agricultural. Some areas have been designated as hazard
All right, we'll reconvene. I appreciate everyone's patience today. I am aware that there is an LPRCA meeting that will be starting relatively soon. Councillor Brenton has left, and Councillor Van Passen will be on his way to it also soon. I think maybe also Councillor Columbus. So, in the interest of time, we will move forward at a relatively expedient pace. That is my note to staff. Relatively expedient pace, so that we can get this done while we have quorum. So, item 4.3, it is 711 Schaefer Road, zoning bylaw amendment, CDS 25029. Mr. Mueller, I believe you are the planner on this one as well. Please continue.
Thank you. Through the chair to council. This is a whoops, sorry. I hate technology. Give me a second, I'm working on it here. Okay, this is a zoning proposal. I don't know why it's not coming back to the first slide here. This is a zoning bylaw amendment for the property at 711 Schaefer Road. The proposal, there is the site characteristics. I'll see if I can blow this up. Where are we here? Okay, site characteristics is, you see on your screen. Site context is to rezone a portion of the subject lands zoned as agricultural temporary use for special needs housing to agricultural special provision for emergency transition shelters. The special provision would include a couple of provisions. There was a temporary, this was has been passed a few years ago as a temporary use bylaw to allow this. Now the applicant is seeking to make this a permanent use on the site. There is the site context with the zoning and the official plan. No technical reports were submitted. Technical comments were provided included in attachment C. Public input has not been received. So it's recommended that report CD 25-029 for development application ZNPL 2024 074 be received for information, and further that any comments received at this meeting should be included in a further report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mueller. Are there any comments or questions from committee at this time? We'll circle back at the tail end. Okay, seeing none, move forward. We have one registered speaker for this report. Mr. Darbison, you are up once again. Same as before, 5 minutes. Let you know when there's one remaining. Let's keep moving, okay?
Thank you very much. I'm here on behalf of the applicants, Mike and Sandy Clofer. They are not here this evening. Mr. David Holmes is here on their behalf. Site location slide, please.
I'm getting it for you, bud. There you go.
Okay, next slide. Yep, keep on going. Yep, there we go. Okay, so you can see the subject lands. This is just a proximity image. It shows the proximity from this existing development to Titan Trailers, which is important later on in the presentation. Next slide, the existing development. It's an existing fully renovated, the former research station. It was, as Josh mentioned, in 2021, there's a pre-consultation meeting, which followed by the approval of council of a temporary use bylaw that permitted the emergency transitional shelters. The owners have invested $1 million and more into re-renovating this facility. And it is on full private services, and it works because of their own incentive program. And today we're applying to make this a permanent use. So next slide, the incentive program overview. This offers emergency transition shelter for 1 to 2 years to immigrants, refugees, and low-income housing, low-income families. The program participants receive a 40% reduction in rent and utilities, taxes are covered, and vehicles are provided more in the form of carpooling to support some independence. One family member from each of the families will work at Titan Trailers or another community employer. It's a self-sufficiency through employment program. So program participants are trained in skills and trades through Titan Trailers and other employers. There's a dedicated Titan staff support, supporting newcomers with their language, health, banking, schooling, transportation. And just some examples of some of the other employers are Cortland Bake Shop, Fernley Flowers, Cranberry Creek, Toyotetsu, Cadman Jewelry, and there's a handful of other ones. So this is an agricultural expansion in food security in the sense that they're now renovating greenhouses so that the people that live there through these transition programs can grow their own produce for free, and any surplus is donated to local food banks and fundraising events. The long-term impact is families stabilize through this. They contribute to Norfolk's economy, their workforce, and community life. Next application, thank you. So right now, yes, there's an existing temporary use. It's for emergency transition shelters with special needs circumstances. And this was initiated through the temporary use as a pilot program in response to the humanitarian crisis in Ukraine. So it enabled occupancy of the renovated former research station under very defined parameters. We're carrying these forward more or less. The proposed zoning bylaw amendment is to permit this use permanently. It's temporary incentivized accommodations for immigrants, refugees, and low-income families with a reduced parking ratio because not everybody has a car. The cars are subsidized by the owner through carpooling. There is no site plan control required. Everything exists. There are no changes to the site. I will also mention that the MOE has issued all permits for this site as well. Planning rationale. This is fully supported by the PPS. It enables flexible rural-based solutions like temporary shelters with employment support. It preserves farmland and aligns with PPS goals for rural economy and infrastructure use efficiency. It conforms to the Norfolk official plan. It gives direction on special needs accommodations through flexible site-specific zoning. And it strengthens the rural economy by supporting major local employers without impacting farmland. The adaptive reuse of this building, it's a reuse of an old former building. It's fully self-contained and compatible with the rural setting. And as I'd mentioned before, the proponents have invested over $1 million into the site through building retrofits, and it's fully under the guise of the MOE.
1 minute.
Yep. So in conclusion, this supports individuals in crisis. It strengthens employment opportunities, and it repurposes existing infrastructure. You can go right to the last slide. It checks all the boxes again, so it complies with all policy. It's an adaptive reuse of buildings with no impacts. It addresses a critical community need for emergency and transitional shelters. It's an innovative incentive program with proven employment outcomes, funded privately and supported by technical studies. It maintains the rural character while strengthening the local economy, and it represents responsible, compassionate, and outcome-based planning. Happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Darbison, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. That was actually really interesting as well. Are there any comments or questions for the agent on this one? Seeing none, thank you very much. Okay, is there anyone in the gallery that would wish to speak to this application? Is there anyone on the line that wishes to speak to this application? Okay, if I can have a mover to receive the deputation as information, moved by Councillor Van Adrisi, seconded by Councillor Columbus. Call the question. All those in favor? And that's carried. And at this time, I think it would be appropriate for committee to ask any questions of staff. So if you have some, please raise your hand. Seeing none? Okay. I need a mover to move the staff recommendation, please. Moved by Councillor Columbus, seconded by Councillor Huffman. Is there discussion? Seeing none, call the question then. All those in favor? And that is carried. Thanks very much. Okay. Item 4.4 is 2148 Highway 3 Zoning Bylaw Amendment CDS 25-033. Ms. Alicia Cull is the Manager of Planning Services and is here to present the report. Ms. Cull, when you're ready, please go ahead.
Thank you. Just trying to get this full screen. I haven't done council this way yet, so thank you. Okay, I think I got it there. Okay, through the chair, thank you. This is a zoning bylaw amendment application for a property fronting onto Highway 3 south of Delhi. The lands are currently farmed. The lands are designated agricultural in the official plan and zoned agricultural as well. The applicant is proposing to establish a greenhouse manufacturing facility in association with a large strawberry greenhouse. The official plan does permit this use as an agriculturally related industrial use. The zoning bylaw is proposed to be amended to permit this ag-related industrial use on the site. Several studies have been submitted in support of this application, and no major concerns have been identified at this time, and no public input was received. Planning staff recommend that this application be received, or that this report be received as information. Thank you.
That was expedient. Appreciate that. Okay, are there any questions of committee? Seeing none. Is there anyone in the gallery that wishes to speak to this application? And is there anyone on the line that wishes to speak to this application? Seeing none, I will need a mover for the staff report, moved by Councillor Van Adrici and seconded by Councillor Very. Call the question, please. All those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you very much. Are you trying to dart? The last item, in all honesty, as we've been sitting here today, I've discovered that I should probably declare a conflict of pecuniary interest on. So it would be appropriate then for Councillor Very to take over the meeting. I will step out. We'll need quorum. So if you wouldn't mind sticking out the last section, that would be great. Oh, that's true. I'll leave it to you. Okay, thank you very much. So with that, I think we still need a motion then for Councillor Very to take over the chair of the meeting. So I'll take the motion for Councillor Very to assume the role of chair for the remainder of the meeting. Is there a mover? Moved by Councillor Van Passen, seconded by Councillor Van Adrici. I saw your hand first. Call the question. All those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you very much, Councillor. Did I not? Opposed? Opposed? You don't get to be opposed. Sorry. Thank you very much, Councillor Very.
Yeah, I was asking Bill, and
I didn't speak English.
yeah. Thank you. Okay, 4.5, 295 Queensway West zoning bylaw amendment, CDS 25025. Alicia Cole, Manager of Planning Services, will you introduce the report?
Thank you. Through the chair, this is an official plan amendment and zoning bylaw amendment application for a property fronting onto Queensway West in Simcoe. The property houses the vacant former PV Mart location. The lands are designated commercial with a special policy area and zoned service commercial with a special provision. The applicant is proposing to amend the official plan and zoning bylaw to permit a furniture store on the subject lands. Leon's is proposing to relocate from downtown Simcoe to this location. A planning justification report was submitted in support of this application, and no major concerns have been raised through the circulation at this time, and no public input has been received. Staff recommend that this report be received as information.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions of the committee on the report? Oh, Councillor Columbus.
Yes, just curious, was the Simcoe BIA informed about this movement? And did they make any comments? Didn't see anything in writing.
Through the chair, they were not circulated, but if you would like, I could reach out to them for comments before I write the recommendation report.
All right, I think it'd be worthwhile. Thanks.
Sure.
Okay, thank you, Councillor. Any other questions from committee? Okay, so we have a recommendation in front of us that staff report CDS-25-025 for development applications, well, there they are, be received for information, and that any comments received as part of the statutory public meeting be considered in a future recommendation staff report. Does someone wish to move the staff recommendation? Councillor Van Passen, seconded by Councillor Huffman. All in favor? That motion is carried. I think we're good. We good? Okay. Did you want to resume the chair? Okay. Well, I'm just making sure. Okay. Oh, yep, Alicia, yep.
Respectfully, the agent didn't get to speak.
Yeah, we have one registered speaker for this report is actually after calling the motion on my notes, so that's my mistake. My apologies. So what do we do? How do we unring that bell, clerk?
Sure. He's a registered deputation. You can bring.
Okay, come on up, Eldon.
And really, his presentation is for information for the committee.
Okay. Well, hey.
I love speaking here. Thank you, everyone. I just want to introduce our clients. It's Roger Banghart and his wife Kathy and their son Kyle. They're the applicants here, owners of the Leons. So everybody's familiar with the location of the property. It's the former PV Mart. Yes, we're dealing with Leons. It's a large format, space extensive retail operation. Typical of the Leon's commercial model. It's characterized by showroom-style merchandising, customer pickup areas, and integrated warehouse to support regional scale delivery. The former PV Mart is a prime location for this business and a perfect opportunity to reuse a vacant building. The official plan speaks to this. The Queensway corridor policies encourage auto-oriented highway commercial space extensive destination-based and regional market type commercial to these areas, and that's what we're proposing. The urban area policies encourage appropriate scaled and mixed-use opportunities more appropriate for the downtown. So this large format retail activity would be encouraged outside of the current location, which is intended for compact, pedestrian-oriented urban fabric of the downtown. Sorry, if we can flip to planning applications, please. As Ms. Call had mentioned, there's an official plan zoning bylaw amendment. The official plan is for size and to permit the use. There's a rear yard addition proposed. The zoning bylaw amendment is to permit the space, the retail function, and there's a zone provision requirement for parking, which we're amending to reflect the actual typical Leon's use for that property. And the existing parking is fully sufficient to support the use. There will be a site plan required for the addition. Please continue with the slides. From a provincial planning statement perspective, it's an efficient use of lands, supports intensification, strengthens the local economy, and is compatible. There's no impacts to the existing provincially significant wetland. All the setbacks will be complied with. Similar to the PPS, the county official plan supports and has similar policies as well. I won't read through all of those. From a planning analysis standpoint from the zoning, yes, so it's just a very high level. It's compatible. There's no impacts. The parking ratio is sufficient. It's supported by data from Leon's themselves. So there is absolutely no concern. In fact, there is an abundance for what they need. Last slide, please. So again, this checks all the boxes. So it conforms to the policies in the Planning Act. It's consistent with the PPS and Norfolk County official plan. The zoning amendment is well justified, especially in terms of its parking, compatibility, and it strengthens and reinvests in the corridor, consolidates its operations, and frees downtown space for other uses, more intended and in line with the downtown policies. So it's in our opinion that this represents good planning, and we hope that council is looking favorable for this.
Okay, thanks, Eldon. Any questions for the deputation? Thanks. Councillor Van Der Schie, please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a quick question. The size of the property, I can't read it. So could you just give me the size of what we're looking at here? Because I think there is quite sufficient space before we get to any limit of hazard land. So there's lots of room there, right?
Yeah, plenty of room. I don't have, I didn't bring that detail with me in terms of the size of the property.
Okay.
It's on
I see Alicia peeking over your shoulder. Maybe she's got it, Eldon.
Through the chair, it's 1.24 hectares or 3.07 acres.
So it's quite sufficient. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
And a very good use of the space.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, then I'll ask for a motion to accept the deputation or information, or whatever. Okay. Why are you laughing at me? Okay, Councillor Van Passen, did I do something else wrong? Well, everyone's laughing at me. Okay, seconded by Councillor Van Der Schie. All those in favor? All right, you jerks. All right. That wraps everything up mercifully. Oh, for crying out loud. Is there any public comments on the deputation or on the application? Seeing none. Is anybody online? No? All right. Yeah. Okay. I believe wraps it up for today, so I'm going to ask for a motion for adjournment so I can get out of here. Okay, moved by Councillor Huffman, seconded by Councillor Van Der Schie. All those in favor? All right, let's get out of here.